How's it going, everybody? My name's Luke C. Marcotte, and welcome back to the Blue Collar Power Hour. Today, we're talking about getting started in the trades in high school. So as many of you know, I actually started in the trades when I was 16 years old, actually working. I started my path of wanting to become an electrician at 15 years old. And so I'm here to explain how I did that. Every time I tell somebody that I started at 16 years old, or even when I was 16 and I told people I was already an electrical apprentice, like, whoa, wait, what? How? And so it basically all came down to just figuring it out as I went. All right, so because I had that mentor I talked about that owned a plumbing company, but he basically told me wait till 18 years old because he never found out how to do it in high school because he didn't start till after high school, as most people do. So if you're in high school and you know you want to get into the trades, and maybe you don't have family in the trades, because my family wasn't, nobody was, and so I didn't know anybody, etc. And I still found a way to make it work. I still found a way to get into the trades, find myself an apprenticeship, and find somebody that would help me get started. And so a lot of it came down to just figuring it out and having such a drive, ambition to want to do it, to need to do it. It helped that I was very, very broke. And at 16, my parents told me I was on my own for everything. And so I had to do this because, I couldn't go work at McDonald's and afford my car insurance, my truck, fixing my truck because I always broke it, my phone, my own clothes, a lot of times my own food, my own gas, etc. I was completely on my own. My parents wouldn't even let me on their car insurance because I would make their rates more expensive. And I had a clean driving record even, so I still had to figure out and go and get my own insurance, etc. So needless to say, things were very expensive. I had to pay for my own school lunches, everything. So I had an absolute need, a desire, a 100% must to get into the trades at 16 years old. And so basically what I did is I was too dumb to think I was doing it wrong. I was too dumb to not try, I guess. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. So I printed off resumes, I made them up, and I went through and I just started applying to every electrical company that I could knock a door on. And I had people standing there that were the owners of these companies, and they told me I was stupid.
You're stupid.
They're like, dude, there's no fucking way you're starting at 16. People tell me I was stupid for wanting to go into the trades. There's people telling me that there's just no way they couldn't make it work, which I understand. It's a burden. But eventually, after just knocking more and more doors, I had remembered my 5th grade teacher, who I had a great relationship with, that her family owned an electrical contracting company in the area. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to add her on Facebook and message her, and I'm going to say, hey, I remember your family had an electrical contracting company. Well, I'm trying to get into electrical apprenticeship right now. And, I was hoping that maybe you could talk to them and see if maybe they'd be willing to sit down and talk to me, because I had talked to probably half a dozen to a dozen contractors beforehand, and they all told me the same thing, basically, which I just explained. And so then I finally got a chance to go in and sit down with these guys. It was just a dad and a son with this company. I told them what I was looking to do and how I wanted to get started, and I guess they just liked the ambition that I had. At first they didn't really want to, but they were willing to sit down and talk with me about basically what it would take to get started after high school, but then they just seen, hey, this kid's got some ambition, let's just give him a try, even if he only works 2-3 hours a day. So they ended up starting doing that. I started doing school to work with them, where I left at lunch to go get started. And then I would work through the rest of the day. And then the son actually started shifting his hours a lot because he liked working with me and we got more done. So he would work more in the afternoons and the evenings, or even on weekends, to accommodate my schedule, which was absolutely amazing. I couldn't believe it. And so I was very lucky in that aspect, but also I don't believe in luck, because guess what? You come down to there, if I wouldn't have went and talked to somebody that I hadn't talked to in the past 6 years or whatever it was, then I wouldn't have the opportunity. If I didn't prepare by buying tools and learning about it on my own before getting started and went to them, then they wouldn't have seen that ambition in me. If I didn't go to a dozen other contractors already and talk to them, I wouldn't have got to them. I wouldn't have shown them that ambition. So you can call it luck, and maybe it was, but honestly, it just came down to a lot of blind ambition and just not giving up. And so I'm here to tell you guys what I would do if I was back in my shoes, poor as hell, couldn't afford many tools, couldn't afford the clothes, and looking to get started in the trades, especially in high school or even right out of high school. So if I was poor as fuck again at 16 years old, I didn't have much money for tools, I didn't have any real work clothing, or let alone clothing that barely fit. And I was looking to get started in the trades. And even if you have all that, even if you have a great support system around you and you're still looking to get started in or right after high school, here's exactly what I would do. I would go and I would print off resumes like I did and just make them honest. Don't try to fudge anything. Don't say that you rewired a shed with your dad. I mean, you can say that, but I wouldn't put it on the resume because honestly, things like that, they equate to absolutely zero experience. It's better to just go in there completely honest and tell them, hey, I have absolutely zero experience, but I have a dire ambition to make this work, and just sit down and talk with somebody. Because I guarantee you, if you're a young kid and you go in there, whether you're male or female, and you go in there and you talk to these people and you tell them that this is something you really want to do, something you really want to make a career out of, and something you want to be great at, they're going to take pride in that. They're going to think that's cool. And so you're going to have a better chance of getting started than even somebody that, say, might be 26 with a college degree getting started in an electrical company with an apprenticeship, because it's just, you're unique. So you have to utilize this time of being younger, as I did, because people think it's cool and it has a coolness factor to it. And so that way it gives you an upper edge in actually getting in. Everybody thinks of things in a deficit. Well, what could go wrong? Oh, well, you know what? I'm too young. Oh, you know what? My dad was an electrician or a plumber or a contractor or a construction guy, whatever it is, whatever kind of apprenticeship you want to get into. And everybody thinks of it as a deficit, that, oh, I don't have experience. I've never worked in that. I don't have the tools. I don't have the right clothes. I don't have the safest transportation to get there. But you know what? You just got to fucking go for it. I chose to look at things in the positive. I said, you know what? I bet these guys would think it's cool if I show up at their doorstep with a resume when I'm not supposed to, with all these deficits, and I still make it work. And I bet those guys would think that's cool, which would give me a better chance of making it happen. And so I was right, and it made it work, and I got started, and I got another apprenticeship in high school too with a bigger electrical contractor, which I explained in a past video, where I actually printed off a resume. I knew what company I wanted to apply to after inspecting various large companies in the area, and so I actually went ice fishing with my buddies on a Saturday one day. I had the resume printed off in my truck, and I seen a company truck from that company I wanted to apply to. So what did I do? I went and knocked on people's ice shanties. I ran around the lake with a fucking resume in my hand, knocking on shanties, like, hey, you from this company? No. Hey, from this company? No. Hey, from this company? No. And eventually I got to this one shanty, and this guy was like, that guy over in that shanty owns it. He's my cousin. I'm like, no way. Fucking lucky day. And so some people would think when they got there, oh, this is going to be, I don't want to burden this busy man. And I didn't even know he was the business owner at that time. And this is like a large 200 employee company. And so most people would have thought, you know what, this is just going to be weird. I'm too nervous to go and do it. I just can't make it happen, etc. But you know what? I was, again, too dumb to think I would fail. I guess I thought it might be adding that coolness factor again, that I went and knocked on this guy's ice shanty and made it work. And sure thing, I showed up and this guy opened his shanty. He's like, hey, what do you want? I'm like, hey, here's my resume, sir. My name's Luke C. Marcotte. I'm really excited. I've been an electrical apprentice for a year right now. I want to get started. I've researched your company. I know your guys' headquarters is over in this town. I drove by the other day and I was actually going to stop out Monday to talk to you. And he's like, all right, stop by Monday. You have a job. I'm like, wait. I have to do a school to work because I'm still in high school. So I have to leave at noon and show up and go to work. And he told me, like, I don't give a shit. Show up and you have a job. I'm like, whew. That's crazy. And I was still to date the only part-time employee that ever worked there, and which is pretty crazy and says a lot just about some kid that had some dumb blind ambition and went for it. I have this saying that if you want the things you're not supposed to have, you got to be willing to do the things you're not supposed to do. All right? People tell you what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go to college. You're supposed to graduate high school. You're supposed to do all of these things. You're supposed to not go out there and knock on people's ice shanties to talk to them, because you're not supposed to talk to strangers. You're not supposed to go and do this. You're not supposed to contact your 5th grade teacher about her family that you remembered owning a contracting company. But you know what? I did it, and that's why I got the results that I was not supposed to get. And you guys have to do the same if you're looking to make this work. And so it all comes down to just blind ambition and doing it. Stop thinking about it and just go the fuck after it. All right? This ain't a game. It ain't a joke. If you want to make this happen, you want to be great, you want to be making good money sooner, stop fucking off in high school. I know people say, enjoy high school. You have the rest of your life to work. Well, guess what? You have high school to work and you can enjoy the rest of your life too. All right, you can enjoy your life and work your ass off. I enjoy my life every fucking day to the fullest, all right? And I work 7 days a week. So if you utilize high school to work your ass off, there's this thing called compounding interest that pays more than any measure of energy, power, whatever it is you could imagine for your whole life. And by the time you're 20 years old, you can be making over 100 grand a year if you do it right. Working a lot of overtime is what I did. You can own a house when you're 20 years old. You can buy your first piece of investment property when you're 19 years old like I did. And it all comes down to just going and talking to people. Just print off that resume. Be brutally honest. Say you have absolutely no experience in electrical, but you have a desire, you have a dream to do it. You want to be there more than anything. You're not showing up because you have to. You're not showing up because you're a high school dropout and you can't get a job anywhere else. You're not showing up because your friends told you about it that it might be cool. You're showing up because you want to be an electrician. Now, if it comes down to the part where you can't afford boots, you can't afford work clothes, you can't afford tools, as I was like that, for 2 years before I actually started my apprenticeship, I asked for tools for Christmas and my birthday. I gave up all other luxuries, including, like, I liked sunglasses. I had Oakley sunglasses, and every Christmas I'd like to ask for those. I liked nice things. And so I put that on delay because I knew that I needed to invest in these. I needed to invest in myself in order to make it work, to have everything I wanted later on in life. And so for 2 Christmases, 2 birthdays, anytime I got checks, I went out and bought Klein hand tools. I still have today and have made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, to me, that's a lot cooler than a pair of Oakley sunglasses that went out of style in 2013. Now, if you don't have that luxury of pre-planning as far ahead as I did, here's something that I have personally helped a few people actually do, where they went through and they talked to their bank or they went to Home Depot and got a credit card, their first credit card. And whether this be in high school or after high school, I actually got my first credit card when I was 16 years old. And it was a type of credit card to help people get started on credit. And so basically you go in there and I gave them $200 cash and they gave me a credit card with a $200 limit. And so I always had the money there in case I couldn't pay it, it wouldn't fuck up my credit. But I used that for 2 years and that allowed me to build my credit so I could buy a piece of property at 19 years old and a house at 20 years old. And so that's a good way to get started. If you're a parent watching this, go and add your kids to your credit cards right now, right fucking now. Don't give them a card. They don't need a card, but add them to your credit card and they will start building credit right now. It doesn't matter their age. They could be super young, but as soon as they're 18 years old, they could have an 800 credit score. I have many friends that did that. I wish my parents did it for me, and I will definitely do it for my kids. Credit is super important. I have helped a few people actually get their credit card, and we went to Home Depot and I helped them shop for the best beginner tool set. Some power tools, some hand tools, some boots, some Carhartts, etc. And I got them started on their way. But the best part is that they were now building credit too to help their future. So they could buy a house, they could buy an investment property, they could do all these things that you basically need credit for in your life. And it benefited them because it helped them get the things they needed to start. And so sometimes, even if you're in high school, you can't get that much of a credit limit. But you know what? Where there's a will, there's a way. If you set it in your mind that you will do whatever it takes to make it work, and you will fucking find a way. I would have went and picked up pop cans along highways for weeks on end to get enough money to buy a set of tools to get started. Nothing was going to stop me. And if you want to get started in high school and you want to be successful at a younger age and you want to get rolling sooner, you have to have that same mentality. Now, as for getting a job in high school, some people are lucky and have a father or a relative that's in construction. But again, it goes back to, is it really luck? Because they're the ones that said, you know what, I'm going to trade my high school years to start working in construction. And they start going there and they start learning the trade and they get started early. And so I highly recommend this to everybody. People cherish high school too much, in my opinion. I never spent any time in high school, so I'm very biased, obviously. I graduated with a 0.6 GPA my senior year. I never played any sports because I was always working. But you know what? The dividends and the compounding interest that paid over the years is far greater than any memory I could have made on the football field, especially because I didn't like football. Compounding interest is the most powerful force in the universe. If you go online and you just study compounding interest, you will be amazed at how much it gains over time and how much difference starting 2 years earlier could be, how much difference starting 3 years earlier can be. You can start at 16 years old in a trade here in Michigan, where there's a 4-year apprenticeship in electrical, plumbing, etc. You can start at 16 years old, and at 20 years old you can be a journeyman. All right, journeymans around here average $28 to $32 an hour. Well, guess what? Most people are only 2 years into college with a bunch of debt, and you have absolutely zero debt. You probably own a home, and you're making anywhere from $70,000 to $100,000 a year at 20 years old. So it's up to you. Start when you want. And then, if you want to wait till after high school and you enjoy your high school years, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I'm just telling you what I did. I'm telling you how I felt and what I seen the best way for me to get started. And to me, business and electrical and learning the trades was like a sport to me. I didn't care about football. I didn't care about basketball. I didn't even want to play them. But I wanted to learn how to be an electrician. I loved going into homes and learning new things and doing construction. I loved learning business. I loved trying. I loved failing over and over and over again, more times than I could even count. But you know what? That was my sport. And so I loved it. And so you have to love it if you're going to trade your high school years, your sport years, whatever you want to call it for that. So if you don't, then start after high school. It's fine. But you don't have to go to college. People will tell you have to go to college. I had people tell me that all the time. I had teachers ask me, do you really want to work that hard for the rest of your life? And I'd say yes. Like that's what I want to do. So it doesn't matter how hard I'm going to work because it's what I love. And so to summarize, basically just do it. Put it in your mind that I don't care what my circumstances, I don't care what my family raised me to believe, I don't care what school teachers have told me about going to college, I don't care about all this. I want to do it, and I want to do it. And I'm going to translate that to the contractors that I'm going to talk to. Because if they see someone that's young that wants to do it, not has to do it, that means you are going to go so much farther than anybody else that walks through them doors, especially at such a young age, going back to the compounding interest where they can train you in the mindset that they want, which is probably better. And so even if you're doing this after high school, it's the same principle. Print off the fucking resume, be brutally honest, to write on the resume exactly how much effort you're wanting to put in, exactly how much you want to be here and what you're willing to give. Say you're willing to work Saturdays, Sundays, it doesn't matter. You want to learn this, you want the opportunity, and you hope that you get the opportunity, and go in and talk to them. Make sure you don't just go in and hand the resume in and run out, because you know what, it's just going to get buried. They don't know who you are, they don't know your age, it doesn't matter. If you go in there and you say, hey, can I please talk to a manager? Hey, can I please talk to a project manager? Hey, can I please talk to the owner, whoever it is? And you hand them that, and they see a young lad there trying to get a job, trying to get an apprenticeship to start his life, to start a better career, to change the trajectory of his family's income, well then you know what? Your odds of getting an apprenticeship just went up 100-fold. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you tell your friends about this. If you're a parent or you know someone younger looking to get into the trades, make sure you share this with them. I'm doing this for free to help these people because I was lucky enough to have a mentor that taught me these same principles. So now I'm paying it forward to you. So thank you again. My name is Luke C. Marcotte, and this is the Blue Collar Power Hour. Oh yeah. You think that's gonna f up the sound? I don't think we're close to the airport, but I hear airplanes all the time. So he would work more around the lake with a resume in my hand. But he's hot. All right, what the was I saying? Harlan!